Welcome, Michael. This is our very first episode of our podcast. Hopefully, we can dive in and tell people more about how we're building this YouTube empire and where we're at today and where we're headed.
Yeah. So, we started 6 months ago.
Yeah.
About 6 months ago. We kind of filmed our first official video back in October, and then took us 3 months to edit that and then get it out there. So that was a process. How did you come about with the YouTube idea in general? Where did you get that from?
Well, I feel like YouTube is a great way to get everything you want in life. I mean, if you want the income, you want the influence, you want to change the world, YouTube can really do all of that for you because you can build a personal brand and you can build that on top of whatever narrative you want. So for us, I feel like we want to build YouTube out so we can help people all over the world and have fun doing it and inspire people to do more adventurous things in their life and do all sorts of crazy adventures. So all these things wrapped together are kind of what leads me to believe that YouTube is the best career you can have.
So what set you off? Like, it was just, to me, it seemed like it was just one random day and you were like, hey, let's go film a YouTube video. And I was like, what is this dude talking about? Like, what are we going to do? What's going on here? And then we just went and bought 15 pumpkins, and that's pretty much the start of it. So what set you off?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It was such a random day. It was just like a random Tuesday. You're like, let's film a YouTube video. Was there any like underlying inspiration behind it? Or did you watch a video on YouTube or listen to a podcast that was really inspired you and you're like, let's do this now. Let's do it now. Let's start it now. Or have you been thinking about it for a long time and you're like, now's the time?
You know, I think that after seeing everybody see such great success, and I kind of already came into YouTube with all the skills. I mean, I've got the lights and all that stuff for photography, and so I've kind of already had the background. So, you know, when I was thinking about ideas to shoot, I was like, why not? So, so that was kind of the start of it. And then after that, we kind of kept going. We filmed 13 videos now, I think. Let's do a
on
script.
our main channel, Boneheads. We have filmed 11 videos, long form videos, and then I think we have maybe like 21 shorts on there as well. So we're pumping out the content, but we're still trying to improve each video every time, and I think that's our main goal, is to just continue improving each video and the video ideas along with that.
So what moved the needle for you on YouTube? What got your interest?
Well, I wasn't behind it at first back in October of, 2023 when you came up to me and you're like, let's film a YouTube video like Mr. Beast and give away $1,000 in a pumpkin carving contest. I wasn't like super behind it. I was like, heck, I'll join it. I'll join the video. I'll see what it's about. And then we filmed it, and I was kind of excited to see what it would turn out to be. And then, you started editing it, and it started taking a while. And then I wasn't really behind on the editing thing. I really didn't want anything to do with the editing because it was just super hard and I didn't understand any of it. So I wasn't really moved by that. And then I don't know what exactly clicked, but at some point, it might have been when we filmed one of our first videos out on the lake, the tubing playing Fortnite. I had a really good time filming that video, and I think that's kind of what clicked it for me. You know, it was just super fun, and I was like, this could be a really good video. And then again, with the editing thing, it took us months to edit that, and super frustrating even trying to edit it. And then I kind of started coming up with some ideas, and we just went from there. And I think from that point on, I was on board, and then we hired an editor, and that made it seem so much more attainable to me, because we didn't have to spend months of our time and sitting there spending all of our hours just editing a video for it to come out kind of mediocre, you know? And we could just send it to someone, have them edit it, and then get it back within a few weeks, and it's a higher quality video than what we could have done ourselves, you know? So I think that's what really got me on. And then ever since, we've just been having more and more fun, and the ideas just keep getting bigger and bigger, and it's kind of just fun to have those ideas and then see if you can make those ideas a reality. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I feel like we've got some momentum, twin.
So what's up, brother?
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of in the groove. I think it'd be interesting for us to go through our current video library and kind of see where we're at today and how that's going to change over time. So I'm just going to pop up YouTube Studio.
So talk to everybody about our main channel, Boneheads, a little bit. Give a little bit of background of like what the niche is, and then kind of how we pivoted away after maybe like 10 videos, I think 10 videos.
So our main channel, Boneheads, is kind of, I'd say, a mix between Ryan Trahan, Mr. Beast, and Unspeakable, maybe. Those are probably the three people we draw the most influence from.
Yeah. And then we have a little influence from other creators here and there too, like maybe sometime in the future, Whistle and Diesel, and then some good ideas from like Eric and Matthew Beam as well. But I'd say the three he mentioned earlier were the ones that we draw the main inspiration from.
Yeah. So right now you can see our original first video was I played Xbox on top of a mountain. Currently has 84 views. It's quite a lot.
Yeah, so that video, that was our first video filmed on that channel, and I think it was our second video overall filmed. So at that point, I still wasn't behind the whole YouTube thing. I wasn't really a big fan of cameras and putting myself on platforms, but you know, as you do it more and more, you begin to understand what it's like and what to expect, and then it kind of grows on you. At least it did for me. And so that video right there, I was super bummed about hiking up the mountain, carrying all this stuff with us to get up there, and it felt like a long hike too. It was not enjoyable for me. And then we went before dinner time, and I was super hungry by the time we got up there, so it just made it so miserable. And then
all the snow too.
Yeah, it was snowy, and it got really cold once the sun went down, and it was just miserable. But we did it, and we learned from it. So
what was that? It was in the fall, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So it was probably November, I'd say, or late October.
So then our first catalog of videos, we were super hell-bent on doing Fortnite. We got inspired by FaZe Rug's video where he played Fortnite underwater, which was a clear scam. That was not actually real.
Yeah, dig deeper into that. Tell us why you think it was a scam.
Well, there's no way he used a Bluetooth remote, and Bluetooth can't penetrate water. So I think he just had somebody else playing and he was sitting in there, whatever. But I think one day I'd really like to get out there and go scuba diving and actually do that video for real.
Yeah, we should go to the deepest pool in Dubai and see if we can
play some Fortnite
in there while scuba diving. I think that would be a fun video to film.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty cool idea.
So that kind of encompassed our first 5 or so videos at least. And then, so we played Trapped in a Haunted House until we went in Fortnite. That currently has 50 views, 4 likes. I played Xbox while in a sled was our next video.
That was the one that kind of clicked for me and got me behind on the thing. I think we filmed that. That was one of the first ones we filmed on that channel, but since it was such a cool video idea, we took extra time to edit it, so it didn't come out until after a few of those other videos, I think, if I remember correctly.
Let's see. We published that video on January 20th. We published 3 videos on January 20th, our first 3. No, first 4. And then our next one after that was Can't Leave a Porta Potty Until We Win Fortnite. All those have under 100 views. But the shorts from those videos really did well, at least comparatively for that.
Yeah, it seems like our shorts so far, from what we've done, some of them have the most views on our channel so far, but our one banger of a video that we've had, the AI Drives Me Around, that one is reaching the views of those shorts, so we'll see which one prevails.
Well, yeah, probably hopefully the long form.
Yeah.
But so our first short we published 8 days later from our first long form video, and that got 10,000 views, which is pretty good for us not knowing what we're doing. And then all of our other successful shorts have done about the same. We did one where we played Xbox, or we played Call of Duty, but every time I died in Call of Duty, you shot me with a paintball gun.
Yeah.
That one did pretty well. 10,000 views.
We didn't end up publishing the long form video of that.
No, not enough story to that one.
Yeah, it was pretty bland. It was a good idea, but pretty bland execution by the two of us, because he just sat there playing Call of Duty, and every time he got killed in gun game, I would shoot him with a paintball gun. And there was really no good story there. It was mostly just like a highlight reel. So I guess that's why it worked well for a short video. So
yeah, that's for sure. And then yesterday we published 2 shorts. One about our self-driving car video, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But that one's going on a pretty parabolic curve for the first 24 hours. It's got 6.5 thousand views. It's getting a couple thousand views an hour.
it's pretty good.
This morning. So we got 8 subscribers from that video, and it seems to be going well. And then, so that brings us into kind of our second iteration of the Fortnite content. Our next video after that, after the first 4, was snowmobiling on top of a mountain to play Fortnite. And so we took our super slick snowmobiles and a TV, and I had this 50-inch TV strapped to my back, and you and I went up there and we won a game of Fortnite in the middle of nowhere with Starlink and a battery pack, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. I wasn't super behind that video because I kind of like to keep my worlds separate, where like I enjoy snowmobiling and I just want a snowmobile. I don't want to like combine it with snowmobiling up to go play Fortnite or something. So wasn't too behind on it. And then we got up there, set it all up, and I think we got the win in 3 or 4 tries.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty easy video, simple, and we got out of there quick, which in some of our videos that's not the case.
Yeah.
And we get stuck doing the video for hours on end, and it's miserable, like the porta potty video. But yeah, I enjoyed that video. I wouldn't say it was one of my favorites, but it was a good experience. And
cool idea, but as we've learned now through be right back. So after our camera interruption 3 times, we were kind of talking about how our snowmobiling video was okay. It wasn't great, but essentially that started the trend where we kind of thought more deeply about what our content should be and using tricks and trades of other people around the YouTube community to try and level up our ideas. So that led us into Stuck in the Desert Until I Win Fortnite. And so these 2 videos got about double the views. Right now they're sitting at 160 views each compared to 80 on our last videos, the first 4. So the Stuck in the Desert one, I feel like was sort of interesting. I mean, definitely not a banger, but had more story to it than the previous videos.
Yeah, definitely it was more of a bigger idea with it, or more of like a higher stakes kind of seemingly type of video, you know? Like it had Stuck in a Desert, you know? That sets the stakes right away. And so I think that was part of our bigger ideas kind of thing of we've got to set the stakes in the video to keep a viewer watching, or for one, be interested in the video. And then, that kind of led us down a rabbit hole of doing more research on other people's best videos. And then we came up with, like, what if we went and rented a Ferrari just to play Fortnite in? So that's one of our next videos that we did in this whole new series of bigger ideas.
Yeah. So we, an interesting point I remember us finding is there's a lot of creators that did Stuck in the Desert challenges, and they did really well. So that kind of landed us with that idea. And then, like you said, we moved on to trying to use brand association to boost our views. So we did testing the Cybertruck as a secret gaming room, and then I Survived Gaming in a Ferrari. Those were our next couple videos, and we really tried to leverage the brand value that the Cybertruck and the Ferrari bring and hype in the community. And so right now today, those are sitting at 500 views and 864 for the Ferrari. So not great, but not horrible.
Yeah, and at that point, we had hired a new editor, so that could have played a big factor in the views and like retention and whatnot. So, but it's hard to say. It could be the video idea was better than our previous ones, and the like filming was also more tuned up than our first few videos, and then the editing on top of that was just like the cherry on top, you know?
Yeah, and we kind of figured out thumbnails a little better.
Yeah.
These 2 videos have our current thumbnails on them that are the same as what we started with. Super bright Windows XP background in the back. And then So that was kind of a turning point for us, figuring out how to not make trash thumbnails like our first 6 videos we did or so. And
yeah, our thumbnails for our first 6 or whatever it was, they were more so just thumbnails from the video itself. We didn't like take any extra photos or anything. We made a few little tweaks here and there on the thumbnail itself, but for the most part, it was just an image from the video, and we took that and put it as our thumbnail. You know, there was really no story behind the thumbnail. There was no context. It was just kind of us there or whatever it was, and you didn't really know what was happening in the thumbnail. So it just like, it didn't translate to the video getting clicks. And then, you know, you hear it all the time on YouTube if you're within the realm that thumbnails and packaging is the most important thing. But I don't think I really realized that until that point. Like when we had those crappy thumbnails, I was like, I don't even know what is going on in this. And it's so dull and doesn't make me want to click on it at all.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I knew that thumbnails were important, but we had no idea on how to act on that.
Yeah, we didn't know like where to get the ideas from and anything. We just thought it was going to be, for the porta potty one, for example, we just thought it was going to be us holding like an Xbox controller outside of the porta potty, and that would be enough story to tell the viewer what they need to know about the video, you know. But in reality, it didn't really go over well.
Yeah, and it didn't tell them anything. We'll put a screenshot of our first thumbnail up there. It looks like trash.
Yeah, it was bad. But that's the whole point of you live and you learn, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. We're just starting out, and we just kind of went for it, and that's all that it takes. So those kind of led us into our current version of content, where we tried to level up our ideas, our thumbnails, kind of combine multiple value propositions, as some of those YouTube consultants say. So we saw all over the internet that big snow caves and all sorts of stuff were really big outliers for YouTubers. And maybe we should go into what an outlier is. But essentially, an outlier is a video that outperforms the subscriber count or the typical views of a channel. So we saw through all these channels, like the Outdoor Boys, Sea Boys, random kids in their backyard, that they would pull millions of views building snow forts.
Yeah, there was one video I remember doing research on, and it was, I think it had like 12 million views, and it was from this kid who just built it wasn't a massive snow fort, but it was pretty cool. And he built it in his backyard with one of those plastic little shovels, and he would do it after school every day until he was done. And he built this thing and hollowed it out, and it got 12 million views. And I think the most amount of subscribers he had was somewhere in the thousands. So like not a lot of subscribers, but it was a mega outlier for his channel. And I was like, man, this is crazy. And it wasn't an overly produced video. It was just a simple him with maybe a GoPro, and he's filming himself doing a time lapse, and then vlogs a little bit, going inside and being like, I'm carving out the insides of this snow cave and whatnot. And I was like, that seems simple, easy enough to do. And so that kind of sparked the idea of we should do that, because we have all the necessary equipment and all the right weather for that in the wintertime. So
yeah, so we have a unique advantage. We have a really nice private lake right by our house, and we take care of it for the owners. And so they're gracious enough to let us come out there, and we have all sorts of heavy equipment. We've got a Bobcat for forestry work, so we hooked up a snowblower to our Bobcat and blew giant piles of, it was like 40 by 20 by 10 feet high of snow.
Yeah.
So we built the most mega snow cave. And as far as views go on that video, it's kind of underwhelming, but it's outperformed most of our other videos. 530 views right now as of today, published May 21st, and today is August 3rd. So it's had a couple months to chew up some views, but even then, still not quite what we're looking for. But the thumbnail on that one was really our first banger, and that's when we hired on our thumbnail designer.
Yep. He does good work, and it's a great thumbnail. Still, like we said, the video kind of underperformed for our expectations, but also I would say that we kind of published the video at the beginning of summer, and it's a winter themed video, so that could play a part in it. Who knows? Maybe by the time winter rolls around, it'll get circulated in more views as the search terms in YouTube are changing from more summer to winter. So who knows? But it's actually doing a lot better than the first month when we uploaded it. I think it only got like 100 views, and it was super underwhelming. And then it kind of stayed stagnant like that for a while. And then as of lately, like the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think it's gotten up to where it is now, which I thought was kind of surprising. But that leads me to believe it might do better in the wintertime. And then also, it's such a good video idea. It could be another inspiration for us to do something similar again,
Yeah.
and make it twice as big or whatever,
Yeah, absolutely. But I think too, our big outlier for us has kind of dragged all our other videos up. And so that leads us to our second to latest video, which was trapped in a self-driving car until we win Fortnite. And right now that's got 10,010 views. And so really, I think the whole AI craze and ChatGPT and all those search terms, and I think our thumbnail was pretty good on that. You can kind of visualize that there's nobody driving this car, and then we delivered on that right away in our intro.
Yeah.
And so with all those factors, I feel like that's what's really pushing that along.
Yeah, and I remember because not to spoil the video, but here I am going to spoil it. At the end of it, we didn't end up getting the win in Fortnite. We had spent, 3 hours in the car in total.
Oh, I think it was more than that. I think we did about 3 hours one day and 4 hours the next.
Yeah, something like that. It was insane. We spent a lot of time driving around with Waymo, and we couldn't pull off the dub in the back. We had spotty reception, all sorts of technical difficulties, to name a few. And then for some reason, it was just so hard for us to get that win. And I remember us talking about it. We're like, should we even publish this video? Because in my opinion, it wasn't the best video. It was just us sitting in the back of the car while it's driving around. And I didn't think there was that much content there and that much story behind it. But I think the way our editor diced it up, it made it have a little more story to it and set the stakes really high with the no driver. And you get hooked in that first 30 seconds or whatever when the car starts driving and it turns the wheel, and then put in a clip of us saying, "What's it doing?" or whatever, and it's just like, oh wow, this is real. This is whack, and then it makes you want to watch the rest. And so I remember when we first uploaded it, I was like, I'm not sure how this video is going to do. It's not the best video. And then I remember looking at it within the first hour, and it had like surpassed the amount of views that all of our previous videos had. And I was like, wow, it's actually going. And then you check back at the end of the day and it's like at 1,000, 2,000 views. And I'm like, whoa, it's going for it. And then it's still eating up views as we speak, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So that, I think, was really the big shift for us so far, at least in our journey.
Yeah, it for sure was. It gave us a little glimmer of hope, you know? And then you look back on the video and you're like, what did we do right? And I think a big part of what we did right was the idea. I think the idea was just so absurd to people that AI drove us around and while we played Fortnite or whatever. And I think the idea behind it was just so absurd that people wanted to watch it. Like, I need to know what this video is and how they did it, you know? And I think that's one of the big reasons why it went the way it went, was because the idea was just like almost impossible, but turning possible, kind of.
Yeah, I agree. So I think, though, if we were to remake that video today, I think a spin like stuck 24 hours in self-driving cars or something like that, or stuck in a self-driving car for 24 hours. I think that would be a better video because it appeals to a broader audience than the mistake we made of just doing Fortnite content.
Yeah.
And also, too, you and I have talked about this a lot, that we don't really care about making Fortnite content anymore.
Yeah, I think it was more so us just kind of beginning a niche for our channel, and like it was something we could do, like gaming and then extreme gaming on top of that, you know? But as time went on, it became less fun for us, for me personally, to just sit there and play Fortnite. Like it got bland. It took the joy out of playing Fortnite for me. And I was like, maybe we should pivot a little bit away from Fortnite and maybe gaming content in general. Not to say we're totally getting rid of it, but like maybe we should try out some other styles, like our new video that we're supposed to have soon. That was our kind of pivot away from the gaming stuff, you know? And I'm really curious to see what that video is going to turn out to be, you know?
Yeah, so what he's referring to is our brand new video, turning my Cybertruck into a 5-star restaurant. And so I guess a good avenue for us to do is kind of go through our content research and how we came up with these ideas. And so for this idea, we saw all sorts of outliers of people turning random things into 5-star restaurants, whether it's their house or Unspeakable did a Lego house, and those were some of the most viewed videos on their channel. And so I just bought a Cybertruck, so we were like, we know what to do.
Yeah.
Turned it into a 5-star restaurant, and especially because, too, it's got all the power we need. So go ahead.
On top of that, we had just gotten the Cybertruck, and we were like, what can we do with it? Because we had already filmed a video of us playing Fortnite in the Cybertruck. We did it in every possible way we could, I think. For the Cybertruck, we played in the back of it, on the street. We played in the back seat of it, in the park. We played in the front seat, and all sorts of ways. We played in it while we were being driven around, and we were like, we've already kind of maxed out our capacity with the Cybertruck and gaming. So what else could we do that maybe doesn't revolve around gaming? And so we came up with a few ideas and thankfully, one of our friends, Jeremy, he said, you guys should start do like a restaurant or something and serve people gourmet meals. And we were like, that's a good idea, actually. And he's like, because he's not one to watch video games, and he just watches our content to give us feedback and all that stuff. And so our content doesn't really incline him to watch it. Like, it's not something he would watch on his own. So he told us maybe you should try something like starting a restaurant or giving people free meals and whatnot. And we were like, yeah, we could do that. So then we kind of took a little spin on that, his idea, and we were like, what if we turn the Cybertruck into a 5-star restaurant? And so we did some research, and we saw Unspeakable did that with his Lego house, and then we saw FaZe Rug did that with his house. And so we were like, yeah, these are pretty good videos. I think it's doable. And so we made it happen, and now we're just waiting for the video to get
Edited.
Yeah. And super excited to post it, because that was probably my top 2 video we filmed. It was very fun, great experience, kind of rewarding in a way, and I just enjoyed that video so much, and it got me excited for what the next batch of content is to come,
Yeah, I agree. And so I think it would be useful for us to tell people kind of how we learned what we have so far on YouTube. Yeah. And so a big tool we use is called the Investor's Kitchen, and it's a bunch of community members all over YouTube that want to teach you how to be a better YouTuber. And it's made by this guy who goes by Wano on Twitter. And he's made a couple videos just to prove his success. He used to be a Dota 2 streamer, which I don't really know much about, but he made a lot of views from those videos. And so he kind of built out this whole library of content teaching you how to think about YouTube like a market, and how it's no different than if you were selling a product, that you have to have a better product than everybody else out there. So Wano has this new tool that he created that essentially uses machine learning data to go through and predict views, and it takes feedback from our community. You can go in and vote if an idea is better than another. So you see 2 versions or 2 videos, and you choose which one's better. And so this all helped train this data set to predict views and virality. And so we put our new Cybertruck video into that, and it said that it would get 800,000 to 1 million views based on the thumbnail and title that we have. So that's pretty exciting.
That is exciting. It's definitely another glimmer of hope, but
we'll see.
Don't know what it will bring until we actually put it to the test.
Yeah, that's for sure. So we'll see how accurate that tool is, but there's lots of good information there in that community on how you should make your packaging and thumbnails and scripting and all these sort of things. But it was really impressive. He started a brand new channel and made a documentary about Japanese housewives, and it's got it probably even maybe up to 10 million views right now, and it's the first video on a brand new channel. So wow. He definitely knows what he's doing, and he's a super nice guy. And so that was a big part of it. And then you and I have watched Casey Neistat's vlogging tutorial that kind of taught us how to edit, how to shoot for clarity.
Yeah, and how to shoot those transitions that Casey Neistat is just so good at. He kind of went into a little bit of depth on how he does that, and that was helpful. Definitely helped my filming process and inspired me to get the camera I have now that we've used for that Cybertruck video as our main vlog camera. So that was pretty cool. And then we also listened to Unspeakable's podcast and learned from him a little bit. And he does these cool little Instagram reels where he shows everybody who follows him a video he posted and then like how many views it's gotten in the past 24 hours or whatever, and then the revenue it's generated, and then all like retention rate and all that stuff, which is really cool to see what it's like behind the scenes of a big YouTuber like Unspeakable. So I think that kind of inspired us a little bit to make this podcast and give the behind the scenes of our process and how we are kind of attacking this whole YouTube thing right off the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost giving people like a history of what we did after we make it, so people can kind of follow in our footsteps, hopefully, and get almost like a play-by-play and not viewing it from the future, but viewing it while we're doing it actively.
Yeah, similar to like what Alex Hormozy is doing with his podcast and documenting how he's building a $1 billion empire or whatever. So I think that's helpful on the YouTube side of things, how we're doing it. So
yeah, absolutely. So what else? We learned from MKBHD's masterclass on how to shoot, film, and edit. That was another good one. We have watched almost every YouTube video on thumbnails, packaging, and then Patty Galloway's videos, and I'm subscribed to his newsletter and follow him on Twitter and all that stuff too. Like Twitter is or X is a big place to go and find all the YouTube content and get inspiration, tips, tricks, ideas, whatever. Another big one I've been listening to lately is the Think Media podcast. They have some good stuff on there. What else? There was one more. The editing podcast.
Yeah.
Hayden Hillier.
Yep. The editing podcast is another good one. And then also just researching how Ryan Trahan makes his videos, and the storytelling behind his videos is so compelling and amazing that it makes you not want to click off. And so I think we've been doing a lot of deep dives in how he does his storytelling to kind of better our content and our stories that we have within our videos. So,
yeah, that's for sure. His voiceover and narrative style, it just flows really well. Yep. So he's definitely a big inspiration.
Yeah, for sure. And then Mr. Beast is obviously the big inspiration on the whole giant idea type of thing too. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe let's talk about some of the tools we use. So, to do content research, we've got obviously what I talked about before, the Investor's Kitchen, where we can plug in our thumbnails and titles and kind of gauge the market's interest in our idea before we go shoot it, which has been super helpful. Mm-hmm. And then we move into where we look for our ideas to start, and that's 1 of 10 or view stats. Yep. Those are both tools you can use to see outliers. You can see thumbnails. You can see all sorts of stuff on people's channels and videos, and how that can help us determine what we're going to make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, talk a little bit more about the 1 of 1 and view stats, and after doing some research on how all the outliers on YouTube, what was your biggest takeaway of your findings? What style of content and all that would you say is kind of overwhelmingly on YouTube as outliers?
Well, it seems like to me, at least from the creators that we draw inspiration from, the biggest videos are always the grandest ideas, and
like filling your house with a bunch of
turning my house into a fish tank, I think, or
Yeah,
whatever it was. Yeah,
yeah.
from Matthew Beam. It got like 55 million views. So there's ones like that. And then Unspeakable filling his house with packing peanuts
and
turning
whatever,
his house into a trampoline park. What else did he have?
those balls, whatever they're called, the toy balls that he filled his house with. I
Oh, yeah.
don't remember what they're actually called.
Yeah. So big ideas like that. And then Mr. Beast, obviously recreating Squid Games in real life.
Yeah.
And then, so I think a big takeaway from all that and the calls we've had with consultants and all these people that have really helped us try to understand this YouTube thing is pretty much that your idea is the only thing that matters the most. I mean, at least it matters 70% comparatively to everything else.
Yeah, and the next thing that matters the most is your packaging. So your title, thumbnail, and then like having your search engine optimized keywords in the description to get your video out there, you know, so that people can see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's really been a big thing, but that's not to downplay the importance of editing, because once you get people to be interested, to click, and to start watching, your editing has to take it all the way home.
Yeah,
so
for sure. And then on top of that, your filming style, like, are you getting the shots that you need to appropriately tell that story, or to tell the story that you want to tell in the video? Or are they just shots that are kind of poor and don't really tell a story, and then you have nowhere to go with it, you know? So I think the filming is also another key thing that is needed to make it successful. So it's just it's a mix of all these things, and they all come together to make a perfect video. But obviously the packaging gets the click, and then the editing in the first 30 seconds of the video keeps the viewer wanting to watch the video. And then throughout the video you have the hills and valleys that keeps the viewer engaged and doesn't just give them a straight line to the finish line, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So you got to have the little bit of challenges throughout, and more often than not, I think that we want to do that in real life. I think a lot of these YouTubers kind of manufacture their problems, or
speaking of that, we watched that Matthew Beam's new video last night of turning his bed into a fish tank, and I feel like his problems in the video, he definitely had the peaks and valleys, but I think they felt a little staged to me when we were watching it. Like, for example, he was building his fish tank in his bed, and I think he had a leak while he was filling it up. And to me, it seemed like that leak was a little staged to give him another problem with the video, to be like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna finish the fish tank before the judge comes or whatever? And I think that was a little bit of a staged part in the video, but it might have been real. Who knows? But then there was another part in the video where he was laying on top of the bed to see if it would hold his weight, and he put, I think it had to have been a sound effect in post when the editor added it in, of a cracking sound when he got on it, and then he was like, whoa, what was that sound? And then like a second later it cut to him just laying down on the bed and being like, oh, it's fine, it's able to hold my weight. So I think it was just that little bit of retention that he tried to put in, but it was faked, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's, if we're going to go on a rant, I think that's kind of what pisses me off about a lot of YouTubers, that they kind of fake things and portray it as real life. And although a lot of people say it's just entertainment, who cares? I think that the more honest you can be in your content all the way through is better. And especially when you want to build trust and want to build a brand that's worth something, all these people that go in there and say, I did this, but they actually didn't. I mean, it's just a load of crap.
Yeah. And then to go back to the peaks and valleys, it's kind of hard to keep that retention when you're doing it how we want to do it. Like it's legit. You can't really like stage your problems in the videos. Like they have to arise on their own, like naturally. And that's kind of hard to get that because, you don't know what's going to happen. It could be easy, breezy, beautiful the whole way, or you could have a bunch of those problems. You never know. So I think that's the hard part with us because we can't really have a part in the video where we stage it like that,
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, speaking of problems, we've had a ton of videos that have never seen the light of day. We've got probably at least 5, maybe 10 videos that will never go out just because of the problems we encountered or there's not enough story. So most recently we saw a bunch of outliers where people were speedrunning Minecraft, obviously because of Dream. And so we thought it'd be cool to speedrun Minecraft with a hunter in a real mine. So we hiked up to a mine and climbed in there. But after we spent, 6 hours, maybe 8 hours filming this whole video, we saw the owner of the mine. He said it was fine beforehand. And then after that, he was like, maybe not. I don't want to dabble in this. So
yeah. So, I mean, the more you film, the more you'll encounter problems like that. And sometimes you'll have these great ideas and then they just won't work out because of some reason. So you film the video and then you realize you can't post it. And I know Mr. Beast has talked about that a lot. He has a lot of videos that he hasn't posted and like it's just part of the game,
Yeah, that's for sure.
Like it was that video, the Minecraft one was a pretty good video idea. It was good. And then it was fun to film, but we had our own problems within the video itself too. Like we were supposed to speedrun Minecraft and we were going to do it Dream style and have a hunter hunting us down and all this. And turned out the people being hunted couldn't even survive. And then the hunter himself couldn't survive. And it was just endless hours of us restarting, respawning, trying to get our gear again and all that. And then we were like, okay, let's all team up. All 3 of us team up and go at it together and try to beat Minecraft. And then after a few hours of working together, we still couldn't even, get the job done. And we couldn't even make it to the Nether. We spent the whole time trying to build a Nether portal and it was already halfway done for us. We only needed to put 2 blocks in to finish it. And we didn't get to that point. We spent 5 hours trying to get to that point and never happened. So it was just one of those videos we had to scrap for multiple reasons.
Yeah. And then we had, what else have we got? Fortnite on a lake, on a frozen lake. Yep. That was one of our first videos. It won't see the light of day. And then we had, what else? We had a couple others.
Yeah, we've had a few, but those are the main 2 that I remember the most.
Yeah, and we had to reshoot the porta potty video. We probably spent like 12 or 16 hours in a porta potty in the middle of winter. So that was pretty wild.
I don't remember what happened with that. We went in there the first time. We ended up getting the win with our like first or second try. We were like, yeah, this video was easy. We're done. And then something happened. We didn't have a camera rolling or audio going or something.
Yeah, something like that, or game recording. So
yeah. I think it was our game didn't record to the external hard drive on our Xbox. And we were like, oh, that's a bummer. So like nobody would have the gameplay footage. It would just be us sitting in the porta potty.
Yeah. Thankfully, we knew that would be a bad video. At
Yeah,
least we had
yeah.
that much foresight.
So then we went back a few days later, and it was much colder that day and snowy. And we're like, okay, let's get the dub. First try again, like we did. And it didn't work out that way. You know, we end up sitting in there for 3 hours, and our butts were hurting because sitting on a porta potty toilet seat wasn't very comfortable to begin with. And then finally we got the dub and got out of there.
Yeah, it was a long night.
It was very long and cold. Our fingers were freezing, and we didn't learn from our first video when we hiked up the mountain to bring gloves. So we didn't bring gloves, and it was cold.
Yeah, no kidding. So maybe let's talk about where we're headed next and what our new content ideas are and what our next couple of videos will be.
Yeah, I think we had talked about it, but starting with the new Cybertruck video, turning it into a 5-star restaurant, I think we're kind of transitioning from like gameplay to more like challenge-based videos, kind of like what Unspeakable does or Mr. Beast, those type of videos, you know, just challenging ourselves to do something. So you recently filmed a video last weekend, kind of emulating that whole challenge type video scenario and niche that we're going into. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I saw an interesting video, not particularly an outlier, maybe a little bit, but from Jesse James West. I trained 30 days to run a marathon or something. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do that bigger. So I did training 23 days to run 100 miles, an ultra marathon. So it was pretty crazy, but probably one of the most eye-opening experiences in my life, at least, that really anything is possible. And even just with minimal training, I felt like I could really do that and do it competitively. And so, spoiler to the video, go check it out. But essentially, I got 42 miles through the race, and by mile 43, I couldn't walk anymore. My IT band in my knee seized up super hard, and so it took me 3 hours to go 1 mile after that. But everything else during that race felt great. I felt like I could do it and get like maybe even a podium spot at that race. And my time was pretty close. I did 42 miles in 12 hours, and the top finisher did the whole 100 in 28. So if I would have kept going, I probably would have been close to about the 30-hour mark, and that was about where second place was. So that was super interesting to see that, like I said before, anything's possible, and these challenges are kind of cool because it's almost an excuse for us to do crazy things on our own and see if we can do it. And it's like almost different because normally in life we wouldn't ever do anything like this, but just because we've got the ability to show people and demonstrate that they too could do something crazy like we're trying to do, it's pretty inspiring.
Yeah. So the challenge videos are just one of a kind. You know, they do so much for not only us as creators, but the viewer as well. It's very entertaining and, like, to some extent, depending on the video, it's very inspirational for the viewer too. And then on the creator side, it gets you doing things that you might think of trying, but then you don't really have a reason to do it, you know? And then these kind of just give you that extra push to go give it a try. And I think that's pretty cool. And I think that's kind of where we both as creators have a inclination to make videos about, rather than ones we're not so passionate about, like the Fortnite ones. Like, yeah, we'll probably add those in here and there, but I wouldn't say we're super passionate about those as we are for these regular type challenge videos that are just absurd, you know? And yeah, I think that's where our content is headed, and I'm very excited about it because we have a few ideas on the docket that I'm not going to spoil right now, but we have a few ideas that I think we're excited about and ready to film whenever the time presents itself. So,
yeah, I agree. I think really the most exciting part is the intersection of our content. I think you and I talked about this. Why we create is either videos fun for us to make, inspiring to others, or we can give back. And I think our best videos are things where we do all three.
Yeah, and going off that, I really enjoyed the first Cybertruck video we did because we went around after we played Fortnite and went around to the homeless people in Austin and gave out Big Macs and we got 75 hamburgers, 50 hamburgers after the Big Macs and gave those away. And that was just super, super nice and rewarding in a way, you know, because, you know, a lot of people go give them money and film themselves doing that. But I feel like giving them burgers and something to fill their stomachs is a big one for me because I like having my stomach filled. I don't know about you, but I think that was just super rewarding. And then our Ferrari video, we had the same kind of idea. We went to the store and gave out food to the food bank, and that was rewarding. And then you received a nice letter in the mail a few weeks ago from them saying thank you, and that it helped feed a lot of people, and especially during the summertime when there's no school to feed the children that need help the most. So that kind of put things into perspective for me, and I'm like, man, I want to do more of that and help those families out that don't have enough money to buy food, and then especially the kids who aren't in school getting the free meals at school in the summertime, you know, it just helps them out so much, and it's very, very fulfilling in a way.
Yeah, I totally agree. And selfishly too, I mean, we can use it as tax write-offs and all sorts of things. So it's super beneficial for us too, even aside from just being a good thing to do. So
yeah,
it's really a good incentive all the way around. I mean, financially for us, emotionally for us, and we can give all that back to other people.
Yeah, and I think it just inspires our viewers to go and give back, you know. It doesn't have to be big, or it doesn't have to be to homeless people, but just giving back to anyone, you know.
Yeah, be nice to people.
Yeah, and kind of like MD Motivator on Instagram and YouTube and whatnot. He started out as a college student and started giving back, and look at him now. He's got millions of views on his videos and millions of followers, subscribers, and he's just giving out things, giving out food, giving out money, giving back to the people that are nice to him, and he gives back to them, you know. And it's just very rewarding type of content. And I think like our content doesn't have to be strictly that, but it can incorporate that and be fulfilling for us and the viewer as well. And while we're doing challenge type stuff and, you know, having fun filming that video, you know. So it's a way that I see our content going, and I'm excited for.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what I miss most about Mr. Beast's old videos is like when he opened a free bank or a free store and
Yeah.
everything was free. He saw a lot more of like the raw community of you know, underprivileged people or people that needed, and it wasn't particularly like subscribers that got randomly chosen to fly out or whatever it may have been.
Yeah, and like giving away cars to families that need them. You know, it's just like it touches your heart in a different kind of way.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened that he's kind of gotten away from that content, but hopefully that's something we can incorporate.
Well, I think his content's becoming more like game showy, and he doesn't really have the story arc to incorporate that kind of stuff. So then he pushes it onto his philanthropy page, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point, but it certainly doesn't get the views or any of that. And
Yeah,
it's kind of a different style.
It is it's different. It feels more, I don't know what it feels like, but it feels different rather than him going up to a homeless man and giving him $10,000, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think too, Mr. Beast content, especially his challenges, that's something like I want to innovate on and put our own spin on, especially because he did spending 7 days buried alive or whatever it was. And although that's cool, I feel like it's kind of sedentary. So
Yeah.
I feel like if you and I can plug in stuff like ultra marathon running or skydiving or, you know, whatever it may be, super adventurous, active stuff, I think that's what we want to inspire people to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So on that note, I think we'll wrap up until next episode, and we'll be back and tell you more about the journey of how this grand adventure is going.
Yeah, we'll be back hopefully after this new Cybertruck video is uploaded, because it should be any day now that we get it, you know.
Allegedly.
It's been any day now for the last
Month.
last few weeks for sure. But I'm holding out hope that it'll be done soon and we'll get it uploaded. So we'll be back after that one probably.
Yep. Cheers. Till the next one.